Hey Noble Team, Greg here. So I had the opportunity to go up to Idaho Falls with a bunch of local coaches and meet a bunch of coaches up there for a live event. Now we talk about live events, so important, whether it's to reignite your passion, to find your passion, or just to give you new ideas and new ways of thinking to make sure that you can be successful. In the video I'm about to share, we have Brigitte Linford, and she really asks the question, so goes the story, so goes your life. I love it as she'll explain from a Tony Robbins seminar that she went to. We are the main characters in the story that we're telling ourselves, but we are also the authors. So, if you don't know who Brigitte Linford is, I just wanted to take a quick moment. She is a 15-star diamond coach. She actually started in 2012, so before me and Mike. I had the opportunity to go through the P90X certification with her and Scotty Hobbs. And last night, after the meeting, one of our local coaches is saying, hey, we're going to go to dinner. You want to come with? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Well, we go, and it ends up being Brigitte's team. Now, Brigitte remembers me, you know, I mean, we're not best friends or anything like that, but when I saw her at the event, she's like, hey, Greg, how you doing? And she did, you know, we talked a little bit about the certification, and she remembered me from that, and she thanked me for helping her coaches in Utah, since I'm part of the Salt Lake Market Council. Well, she ended up paying for everybody's meal, and even for me. And I was like, Brigitte, I'm not on your team. And she's like, yes, you are. You help everybody. We're all one big team. Now, I will tell you right now, before we start the video, that each of the coaches that were there, Micah Folsom, Jennifer Greenberg, Sean Burgoyne, Brigitte, they all paid for their own way to get to Idaho Falls to share their story. They weren't paid one dime. Their airfare wasn't paid for. Their hotel wasn't paid for. They did it to share what they know and their inspiration. Please take a moment or a few minutes and watch Brigitte's story. As Sean introduces her, he really says she has a way of telling a story that makes you want to live better, be better. And I can 100% confirm that. Brigitte is amazing. Take some notes, listen to her, listen how she shares her story. She is an amazing person, and I just want to say, enjoy.
Awesome, right? Is a wife and also mother of 3 beautiful children. She's a powerful way of delivering her message that causes you to make changes in your life. She's been with Team Beachbody since 2012 and achieved the highest rank in the company and is a 15-star diamond, or otherwise known as a superstar diamond coach. She is a 3-times elite top coach, and in 2014 at our annual Coach Summit, she was awarded with the CEO Leadership Award, which is only given to one coach in the entire company. She is the founder of Forward Fitness and has helped develop and mentor numerous elite and star diamond coaches. This past October, Brigitte was announced as a $1 million earner with the company. Come on, guys, seriously? I'm not going to let you guys sleep today. After retiring her husband from his career, they moved to Arizona to be in the warm weather year-round. She's currently taking on the brand new challenge. If you've been watching her post, she's learning how to fly a plane. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for this beautiful woman right here, Brigitte Linford!
Well, I'm excited to be here today, and I'm going to ask you guys a question. By the raise of hand, I want you guys to tell me if you have ever been afraid of something. Okay, I see what some of you guys are doing. You're kind of like holding up your hand, but looking around, see who's watching you. Come on, we're human. This is a safe place. I'm going to ask you again. How many of you guys have ever been afraid of something? Thank you. How many of you guys have ever had something, you just think about this in your head, you don't have to raise your hand. How many of you ever had a fear or a doubt that seems to be a theme in your life? You know, maybe something that you've been afraid of that you have had for a long time. I know for myself that I have. And it started when I was a teenager. I was mouthing off to my parents, kind of being sarcastic, giving them attitude. And my mom turned to me and she goes, "Someday, Brigitte, you are going to have a daughter just like you." From that moment on, I was terrified to be a parent. And it's true. It's sincerely true that I was terrified to be a parent. And that fear deepened as this depression that I had since 6th grade escalated, and at 21 years old, I was locked up in a mental hospital on suicide watch. And I remember being there, and there was this woman in the mental hospital with me who was a mom, and she would have her kids come visit her. And I remember getting to know her a little bit, and this was not the first time that she had been in a mental hospital. And I just remember the looks on her kids' faces as they would come to see her. And I remember thinking, I'm on the same path as this woman. And if I ever become a mom, one day my kids are going to be visiting me in a mental hospital. And I was like, I cannot be a parent and bring in innocent children into this world because I'm just going to screw them up. Just over a year later from that, I became a mom. I don't want to show you that yet. Just over a year later from being in that mental hospital, I was pregnant, unexpectedly. And that fear didn't go away. In fact, I remember being at the hospital, and just after a few short days in the hospital, they were like, "Okay, you can go home." And I'm sitting there thinking, are you sure? Like, you're really going to let me leave? Because I have no clue what I'm doing. Like, I'm going to mess up this child. I don't know what to do, how to take care of this baby. And, you know, that fear continued on in my life, and I'll admit that that fear worked for me, as that was a fear that motivated me to make change in my life. Because I knew that my kids were watching me, and that I was their example, and that they were going to follow my example whether I liked it or not. So that fear worked for me, and served me, until one day, I went ice skating. And I took my family ice skating December 23rd, 2015, just 7 weeks ago. And I was loving it. You know, I really like ice skating. I grew up rollerblading, and I was just having the time of my life. And my kids, they had all never been before, and so they were just all kind of figuring it out. I've got 3 children, and my youngest, her name's Phoebe, she's 4 years old, and it was her first time going. And so I was holding her hand, kind of going around and around. And finally, she's like, "Mom, I want to do it on my own. I want to do this by myself." So I'm like, "Okay." So she kind of goes around in a circle one time, and she stops. She looks at me, and I'm like, "You're doing so good." And she was just feeling so proud. And so she went around again and again, and kept going around in this circle. And, you know, I'm a mom. I think my kids are perfect. And I had this thought of, she's going to be an Olympic skater someday. I remember having a very distinct feeling of that. So of course, I'm thinking, she's going to be famous, and one day having an A&E special on her, and wouldn't that be cool if there was a home video of the very first time she went skating? So I pulled out my camera, my phone, and I took video, fully expecting this is going to be on A&E someday, like my daughter's going to be famous ice skater, and you know, and then put my phone away. We just were skating around, and you know, we were just having a great time, and then my daughter fell. And she fell down, and I leaned over to pick her up. And in that moment, I noticed that my skate was over top of her, with her hand on one side and her finger on the other. I had cut off my daughter's finger with my skate. We were rushed to the hospital, Phoenix Children's. Her finger was reattached in a 3-hour surgery. But there we would stay for Christmas Eve, for Christmas Day, for New Year's, for 2 full weeks, where she was confined to a bed in the ICU. Every hour And it was horrific for me as a mother to watch my daughter in so much pain because of something that I did. I created that mess. And my worst fear was come true. I had felt that surely someday my kids are going to be in therapy because of me. I'm going to emotionally and spiritually screw up my children. And now I was physically screwing them up. If they didn't need therapy before, surely they would need therapy now because I was their mother. And all of these thoughts and fears and internal battle was crippling, was overwhelming, and it just completely consumed me. I remember one particular day, we had flown in my in-laws to take care of the children, and my husband was at the hospital, and I was laying in bed. My alarm clock had gone off about 5 hours earlier, and I still couldn't get out of bed. And I'm laying there thinking, why am I even trying? Who am I kidding? I am the worst thing possible to have happened for my children. These feelings were just overwhelming me. I just felt like I just can't do this anymore. I could try for a little while, but I'm just messing up my kids. Yeah. And then this thought entered my mind, this tiny little thought. Or so goes the story that you're telling yourself. And it stood out to me because I'm like, oh, where did that come from? Or so goes the story that you're telling yourself. And then I remembered being at this Tony Robbins seminar a few weeks prior to this accident. And I'm pressing too hard because I want you to see this. It says, it's something that Tony Robbins was saying many times. As goes your story, so goes your life. And I realized in that moment, I had created this story, this belief, that I'm going to be a horrible mother, I'm going to mess up my children, and I was finding evidence to support it. And all of a sudden I was very curious. I wonder if I'm able to find a different story. Maybe there might be evidence to support a different story. And from that moment on, there was hope. Hope for a different story. You know, and in my line of work, I get to work with people who are losing weight. So I've mentored thousands of people to lose weight. I've mentored hundreds of coaches who are building a small business. And so I've kind of gotten to know people a little bit, right? And people are funny. One thing I've noticed as a trend is people tend to look at other people succeeding, other people reaching their goals and moving forward, and they're thinking, what is wrong with me? I must be doing something wrong. There must be something wrong with me. And I kind of think of the analogy of cars. You know, so pretend we're in a scene of the movie Cars, and we've got Mater and Lightning McQueen and Sally over here, and we're all cars. And we're on this freeway, and we're sitting there on the side of the freeway watching all of these other cars zoom past. They're progressing, they're moving forward, they're hitting their goals, and we're sitting there on the side of the road being, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with my car? I must have gotten the lemon. There's something default in my factory settings because it looks so easy for other people, okay? And the reality is, that person on the side of the road who's looking over the hood of their car thinking, what's wrong with me, just hasn't turned on the car, and they just haven't even put their foot on the gas pedal. So it's a choice. You know, there's this factory setting of a car that it is in stop motion, but it is designed to move forward. It is designed to progress and to drive down that road, and we are the same way. We have a factory setting where we have fears, we have doubts, we have limiting beliefs, but that is the reactionary state that we are in. But we can take an intentional choice to put our foot on the gas pedal, and we will move forward just like we see other people doing. It is proof that that is what you were designed to do, But if you choose to live in a reactionary state, you're just not going to do it. But there's nothing wrong with that car, and there's nothing wrong with you. So I want to share with you guys a couple steps. And these are steps that I took for myself that morning as I realized, okay, I've got to choose a different story. Or so goes this story that you're telling yourself. I wasn't happy with the result that that story was bringing. So step one is that I realized that there's a narrative going on here. We all have these experiences, and we give these experiences meaning. And there's this narration going on in your mind that is giving meaning to every experience that you have, okay? That is the narrative, and I want you to, again, identify that it is something that you can, it's separate than you, right? It's a narrator, okay? So that's the first step. Second step, I want you to write down this narrative story. What is this narrator telling you, okay? You know, for myself, so I'm sitting there laying in bed, and I'm like, okay, the story I'm telling myself, the narration is that I'm a crappy mom, and so I'm writing this down, thinking this through. Now, someone may ask, like, okay, well, isn't that kind of giving power to these negative beliefs? And it's not. It's objectifying it. You know, it's kind of like your children who think that there's a monster in the closet, and so you kind of talk them through that, and you're like, well, okay, all right. Really, there's no such thing as monsters, and really, why would they pick your closet of all the closets in the world? And you can kind of objectify it and help them see how it's really quite ridiculous, all right? And here's the thing, like when I work with people who are building a business or people who want to lose weight, these first two steps are pretty easy. You know, they can kind of identify the voices in their mind, and they can write it down, but the step that they're missing is step 3. They're asking themselves the questions of, okay, here's my fear, here's my belief, and is there evidence to support it? And that is wrong. You're missing a couple steps. Step 3 is where you get to ask instead, is this working for me? Is this empowering me? Or is this belief that I'm holding on to holding me back? You know, and as I was asking myself that question, I could identify this belief that, you know, I'm going to ruin my children did work for me at one point in my life. And it's an important, I share that because the beliefs that you have that are holding you back, it's good for you to be grateful for them because at one point in your life it did work for you. It helped you to survive. It got you to this point. But you can still release it. I could now say, yes, this very fear inspired me to make significant changes in my life, but it's not working for me anymore. So I'm going to let it go because it's holding me back. Step 4 is I want you to identify another option, another story. So this is where you get to be the supportive best friend and kind of step out of yourself and say, you know, if this was happening to somebody else, what would I say to them? You know, how could I be that supportive friend to this person? What is that narrative that I would be speaking into their life? Okay, that's what you get to identify and literally write down. And then step 5 is where you are finding evidence to support this new story. Because as Tony says, so goes your story, so goes your life. The stories that you tell yourselves, you're going to find evidence to support it. Whatever you believe is the truth. Now I want to share one last story with you guys about one of my other children. This is my other daughter, and her name is Andy. And Andy is not like anybody else that I've ever met, ever. She's very much not like me. And she likes Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. She also likes Minnie Mouse, though. But every single day, she would like to wear her son's my son, her brother's hand-me-down gym clothes. You know, the clothes that we gave her, intending for that to be her pajamas. You know, she wants to wear those to school. But then, come Sunday, she can rock a plastic tiara like anybody's business. And she loves lipstick, you know, so I'm just like, she does not fit in a category or any box, you know? And she is so confident. She doesn't care. She's not asking for anybody's permission to be who she wants to be. You know, so at dinner, we kind of have this little tradition where we ask our kids, so tell me what was good about today, tell me what was hard about today, they're just trying to kind of find out what's going on in their lives while they're at school. And through this, I learned a little bit more of what my daughter is experiencing during recess. So she's sharing with me how there's these different groups, and how there's a hopscotch group, and a soccer group, and then a group where the kids always do origami, and then there's talking groups, and apparently there's like 5 different talking groups. And I'm kind of curious about this, because really I've never seen my daughter bring home friends from school. And when I've asked her, okay, you can invite some friends over, who would you like to play with? She's like, I'm fine. And she really, quite honestly, every day she plays with her little sister, with Phoebe, or she plays with her older brother and his friends. And so I've kind of been a little concerned. And so when she tells me about these groups, I'm like, well, which group are you in? And she's like, I'm not in a group. I just like to play with the different groups and kind of take turns and go around. And I'm like, but they let you play with them? And she's like, well, yeah, they let me kind of play. But, there's some times when this group may say, no, that's okay. We're fine. No, thank you. And she's sharing this story, and I could tell the way she was sharing it, she was okay. Like, this was not a hard thing for her. And in fact, many times my daughter has told me, Mom, guess what? I'm the most popular girl in school. She has this belief that she is really cool. And I couldn't help but think, with this experience that she's describing, how I would have narrated that if I was her at her age. I would have looked at that and said, I'm being rejected. I'm not fully accepted by any one particular group. People don't like me. I have to beg people to let me hang out with them. I don't really have any friends to come with me to my house and play with me after school. I end up just having to play with my little sister who's 4 years younger than me, or my older brother and his friends. I am so lame. That's the narrative that I would have given the experience if I was her. Like, I just know how I was at her age. And that's not the narrative that my daughter has. In fact, 2 weeks ago, she came to me and asked me a question and said, Mom, how old do I have to be for me to go and change my name? And I'm thinking, I really like your name. Like, it's an odd question. And I'm like, well, you have to be 18, and then you can change your name. And I'm like, well, what do you want to change your name to? And she goes, well, I want people to start calling me Awesome Andy. And she was dead serious. As I was calling her to dinner, and now, really, she corrects me. I cannot call her Andy. I have to call her Awesome Andy. She brings home her school papers, and it says Awesome Andy. She made this poster for her bedroom door that says Awesome Andy lives here. And she did inform me that when she goes up to these groups at recess, she says, hi, I'm Awesome Andy. Can I play with you? And it just floors me because she's not trying to convince herself. With every fiber of her being, she knows that she is awesome. And it's just a testament to me that, again, we do get to choose the narration that we give these experiences. If you want to choose and say, I am lame, there is something wrong with me, this car is not moving down the freeway, there's something wrong with me, you are going to find evidence to support it. The sad truth is, if you also chose to say, I am Awesome Andy, my car is a race car and I am zooming down the freeway, I am wonderfully perfect and I have value to add, you are going to find evidence to support that. Because you are the main character of your life, you are also the author. So you get to choose. You have a choice to choose that empowering story, and I encourage you to do so. Thanks for having me.
Just wait for you to come back here. Everyone stand up, come on!